morning and welcome to Ad Age Remotely. I'm your host, Senior Technology Reporter Garrett Sloan, and today we will be discussing the evolution of YouTube advertising. It has been a big year for YouTube, and next week is Brandcast, one of YouTube's biggest advertising get-togethers of the year. There are a lot of changes to discuss about how creators are using video sites online, how brands are buying ads, how TV is changing, and more. And as always, please send us questions and comments during the show while you're watching on all our social channels. And now with us to explain it all is Debbie Weinstein, YouTube's VP of Advertising. Hi, Debbie. Thank you
Hi,
for
Garrett.
joining.
Great to see you.
Great to see you as well. Appreciate your participation today ahead of Brandcast.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Sure, and we're going to get right into it with that note, Brandcast. I know it is next week, so I just wanted to get a sense, ask you right at the top what to expect, as much as you can say. I know the show is always full of surprises, so what you're able to
Yes,
say.
I think it'll be full of surprises again. I expect a great show. I think the two things you can count on is one, a conversation about content and the content that's resonating with today's viewers, and products that we're launching that will support results for our businesses. So those will be the two big themes I'm sure you'll hear about, and we're excited.
Right, and this is the first time you're coming back in person since 2019. So just you also have been doing other live shows. I think maybe you have Google I/O this week, if that's in person, or how much is
Yeah.
live coming back in terms of just the workplace?
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, I'm finding that people are really craving to reconnect in person. And yes, we have Google I/O in person this week. Next week is Braincast. The week following is Google Marketing Live. We also hosted a big event as part of the New Fronts. I guess that was last week. So we've got a lot going on, and people are excited to be back together, I would say.
And right, you had just mentioned you did have a presence at New Fronts because that's where Brandcast typically was. And for people who don't know, I'm sure most people do know, Brandcast is sort of like a creator showcase for you where you do a live show. It is for brands and media buyers to see what's on the platform. You've done it in New Fronts, which is sort of a different atmosphere than this year where you're doing it in upfront. So what is that difference?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, we had a presence both in new fronts and in upfronts. And I think that is really a manifestation of what's happening in the industry right now, this sort of like convergence in these worlds of digital and traditional media coming together. And it's driven essentially by the consumer and what the consumer is choosing to spend their time with. Consumers are choosing to spend more and more time on streaming. I think the stat is that 2/3 of American households are currently watching streaming once a month at least. And so this is a big part of what's driving consumer behavior. And as the leader in ad-supported streaming, we are the #1 ad-supported streaming service with 135 million households viewing YouTube on their CTV screens. We really felt a responsibility to help bring these worlds together and bridge the land of digital and more traditional ways of viewing. And so that's why we felt it was important to have a presence in both places. At the New Fronts, we really talked about the creator economy, and you will continue to hear about that as we come into the upfronts, because I think that really creators are the lifeblood of the platform, and it is what it is that draws viewers to the platform every single day.
Right. And are there sort of, since you did move it to the upfront season, is there a different sort of audience in terms of media buyers that you're talking to at that type of an event? They're more TV focused. Do you have to change your message?
Well, I think that the conversation in the upfront is always about content. It's always, traditionally been this sort of what we're going to approve to run on our broadcast schedule in the coming 9 months, or the 9 months or year starting in Q4. And I think for us, it's no different. We're here to talk about the content that's really resonating for viewers every single day. For us, it's about the content and the creators that viewers are loving. And that's, I'm sure, what will be front and center at our event. And we really think that consumers are choosing with their time the content that's most relevant. And that's why we think YouTube is an exciting place to talk to marketers.
Right. So you are really looking at Q4 when you're doing these conversations. It's all the way that far out when talking with buyers.
Well, we're in the market every single day, as
Of
you can
course.
imagine. But the traditional kind of upfront trading window usually ran that broadcast calendar of Q4 through to Q3 of the following year in the United States.
We're already looking ahead to 2023 is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yes.
And one of the big topics that I think everyone wants to talk about, and YouTube, I mean, is uh, is digital, so it's got a different way to do measurement than TV has traditionally done it. And so you're talking about measurement because it's on everyone's minds
Absolutely.
this year, is particularly. So, what's going on in measurement, and how does YouTube fit into that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, measurement is essential. So we are hearing from advertisers loud and clear that they want help figuring out how to bridge these two worlds. And as they see consumers spending more and more time with streaming and connected TV devices, they want to understand how to think about YouTube relative to other potential services they could be reaching audiences on. And as you said, in the traditional world of digital, there were limitations in terms of how you could think about viewership on a television screen, one of them being this idea of co-viewers. So co-viewers is a very established way that television has been measuring audiences for years. The idea that most often when someone's watching content on a CTV, it's not just you, it's you along with somebody else. I think our stat is something like 20% of the time. There's 20% more people basically in the room when you watch YouTube on a CTV. And so we are working hard to make sure we can provide insight into that dynamic on YouTube so that people can make those smart investment choices across all the choices that they have in the kind of streaming and OTT landscape. So a couple of things what we're doing there. We believe very much in a robust third-party ecosystem. So we have long partnered with players like Nielsen and ComScore and others. And so we are providing more and more data to allow those players to actually provide an accurate understanding of who's watching content in the living room or when someone is viewing a connected TV device. And so not only will you be able to measure a unique reach and understand how many people you're reaching, but you'll also be able to understand relative reach. So with tools like Nielsen's total ad ratings, you'll be able to understand how many total incremental audiences were you able to reach with YouTube as a complement to other OTT services or even linear TV. Similarly, we're offering some services that are first-party solutions so that we can move quickly and offer a sort of off-the-shelf solution right in the Google Ads front end for some of our customers who prefer that as a solution. But I think measurement is understandably a very important topic, and providing that apples-to-apples understanding of reach and impact on connected TV devices is something we know is top of mind for advertisers.
Sure, and it's also related to what's happening on platforms in terms of, and Google's making its own adjustments to data sharing, how sort of data on devices is relayed back to marketers when the consumer gives permission for things like app tracking or personalized ads. There's more sort of focus on how that data is transmitted online, and then that does affect measurement too. Is that how does it affect measurement, and what are we going to see just this year in terms of being able to connect the dots for marketers?
Yeah, well, we know that consumers have incredibly high expectations on the privacy front, and they're ever increasing. So we have made a lot of investments here. We want to make sure we are getting it right when it comes to consumers being able to manage their data. But we also want to make sure we are supporting a ad-supported ecosystem. We very much believe in the value of advertising, the value of the open web. And so we're trying to find that balance between supporting publishers, supporting creators in the case of YouTube, and making sure we're honoring consumer privacy requirements.
Absolutely. And then also the idea of data is important for performance marketing. So if you're going to be doing shopping ads or anything that's sort of pegged to any sort of goals that you're trying to achieve as a marketer, the data is sort of a vital component. How does that fit into what you're offering in upfront sort of ad deals with marketers, their shopping and performance goals?
Yes. Well, first of all, let me say, I think every marketer is a performance marketer. They just measure it differently. So this adage of performance marketing, for me, having come from a more traditional branding background, I always have a little bit of a reaction to it. But in terms of direct response, which is sort of my preferred term of art, or action driving actions in the online world, we are really pleased with how that business has established itself on YouTube. So the idea was YouTube traditionally was really serving upper funnel marketing objectives, reach and frequency and awareness goals. And over the last 5 or so years, we've invested heavily in making sure that we can help advertisers who want to drive a conversion in the online world. And so it started with products like video action campaigns that basically allow an advertiser to understand when someone is exposed to a video, when and how often do they take an action with that ad. We do that in a very careful, privacy safe way. We use a lot of modeling techniques that basically understand and extrapolate based on behaviors that we're seeing across the platform. But one of the biggest things we've initiated over the last year is actually this connection between these video action ads and what we call our Google Merchant Center. And the Google Merchant Center is basically all the repository of shoppable inventory that lives basically with retailers or with someone who's a direct-to-consumer company. And we've been able to bridge those worlds and have video action campaigns drive a direct shopping action. It's really incredible. What we're seeing typically is about a 60% improvement in conversions at a lower cost per action, which is just fantastic results for our customers, but also for users who are on the platform every day with shopping intent. We know that about 70% of consumers tell us that they have discovered a new brand that they've purchased as a result of being on YouTube. And so we feel like this bridging of the worlds between action campaigns and shopping is really game changing.
Yeah, I feel like I see more shoppable ads too, just in the banner position on some ad units where it says order now, or
Yep.
the video ad that says one thing and then there's the order now button. Is that all working, and does that all fit into what upfronts do? Are those the type of ad buyers that are participating in Brandcast upfront type season?
One of the things I'm finding is that advertisers are interested in delivering results for their businesses. And so it's for us, it's about whatever is the key marketing objective that they're sharing with us. We want to make sure that we're serving them well. And more, we're hearing this interest in what I would call full funnel advertising, this idea that I want to help a user or a viewer discover a new product, discover my product or service, and then also convert. And so YouTube is one of the few platforms where you actually can achieve both goals, where you are driving awareness, delivering consideration, and ultimately delivering the purchase. And this is something that I think marketers kind of across all verticals, across all kind of buying types, are really interested in having conversations with us about. So it's one of the most exciting areas I think that we can be of service to our customers.
Now, we have some viewers who I would like to shout out as they're watching us live, some of them on YouTube as well. So
Woo-hoo.
let's remind everyone to send us their shout outs from wherever they're watching. Dennis from New York, Roberto from Angola, Lauren from Texas, Sean and Chantal and Aaron and everyone else out there. So thank you. And again, I'm with Debbie Weinstein, VP of Advertising at YouTube. I'm Garrett Sloan, Senior Technology Reporter at Ad Age, and we are on remotely. So hi again, Debbie. Back to it. You, what are you seeing in the advertising market so far? Like, I've read some. Obviously, there's volatility. There's concerns about recessions. There's some advertisers doing things one way, others another. I read a story recently. Maybe auto advertisers are not spending as much on TV in the coming year. Those sort of things. Are you detecting any trends we need to watch as you talk to ad buyers?
I mean, certainly we all read the papers and we can see the supply chain issues that are really challenging for a lot of different verticals. But we are finding that there's a lot of interest in what YouTube can do to help grow businesses. And as I shared, kind of all the way through the funnel. So some folks are using this as a moment to really invest in their brand and making sure that they are delivering that kind of top of mind awareness goal. And others are saying, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to be even more ROI focused and deliver kind of these online conversions and more lower funnel objectives. So we're seeing success across the funnel.
And we had a question come in from Sean on LinkedIn, and he asked about how are shorts doing with the rise of TikTok. So, of course, I was going to ask about shorts. What is happening on mobile and videos like shorts, which are short form videos that people describe as being similar to TikTok?
Yeah, we're incredibly excited about Shorts. Shorts is kind of our latest innovation in terms of how creators can actually create content right from their mobile phones, as you were sharing, and then also a new kind of viewing experience where users and viewers can go on and actually see content in this kind of shorter form video format. And honestly, the very first video that ever launched on YouTube was an 18-second video, me at the zoo, which folks might remember. And so for us, this is always been a big part of what YouTube was about. And we're really proud of the fact that we have multiple different ways that creators can be creating content and then engaging with their communities, whether it's long form, it's short form, it's lots of other ways that creators can build that connection.
Yeah, a lot of platforms are moving to shorter form video. It feels like maybe there's a lot of overlap or similar styles. Just even Instagram's gone to Reels, YouTube Shorts, Reddit. I think even does own a short form video player now. What is happening to the social media landscape? Is it different on each platform? Is it different on YouTube than you should be on TikTok, or are things converging?
Well, what we're seeing on YouTube is that Shorts is taking off incredibly well. So I think the latest stat we've shared is that 30 billion daily views of Shorts, which is up 4 times just in the last year. So it's really on a tear. And consumers are really loving engaging with this form of content, but most importantly, creators are loving to make this content as well. And one of the things about Shorts and in YouTube overall is we're incredibly invested in making sure that we have the best tools possible for creators and making sure that we help them express their creativity, express their ideas in lots of different forms and formats. And really importantly, that we make sure we get the monetization right for them as well. So for those of you who are part of the New Fronts, I guess that was 10 days ago or so, one of my favorite sessions was where we sat down with some creators and asked them about how they think about creating content in this, as you were describing, sort of complicated and uh, cluttered video space. And actually, many of them said that YouTube is their home. Collins Key was one of my favorites. He talked about the fact that, lots of other platforms talk about the fact that they are trying to be helpful to creators. But at the end of the day, YouTube is the only one that for the last 10 years has been sharing 50% of the in-stream revenue with creators. So we really are the home of the creator economy, as he said, full stop. And I'm really proud that we continue to invest in building great tools for them.
Absolutely. And we're seeing also the major TV studios and brands are using Reels too. I think I saw AMC is even putting whole shows on YouTube and then creating shorts. So that sort of content is coming together in a
Yeah.
lot of ways.
I mean, one of the things that's amazing about YouTube is that if I asked everyone who was watching this live stream, what is the content that really resonates for you on YouTube? There was something for everyone on the platform, and it's the diversity of content and the relevance that people can find exactly what's right for them. In previous years, we've talked about this idea of prime time is personal, this notion that what is personally relevant for me is what I really love. And it's that range of content from studio produced shows all the way through to the creator content that makes YouTube such a powerful platform for consumers.
And I think we've seen a bit of a shift over the years too, as well, where we used to see more YouTube Premium was creating these shows. You wanted, let's just make them these big productions, and you had a lot of creators getting involved in those programs. And now, more recently, it seems like I was mentioning AMC. They're putting a whole Walking Dead series on YouTube. They just put it right there, or maybe
Mm.
more TV shows, more cooking shows, full longer shows that you're seeing networks actually put on the platform. How is that strategy coming directly from YouTube to foster that? Because they need ad revenue as well. They need encouragement to be on the platform and put their content there. What do you tell them?
Yeah, well, again, one of the things that's amazing, YouTube creators and of all forms, media companies in many ways are creators. I would say music artists in many ways are creators as well, obviously. And they come to YouTube because we have this incredible audience. And then these technologies and techniques where they can build that connection with the audience that they want to cultivate. And so we have many, many, many ways that creators can get involved in the platform, whether it's creating short videos, long videos, whether it's using it as a library or a VOD service where people can reference, historic videos that folks have made. So it's lots of different techniques and ways that every kind of creator can build an audience and build that connection. And again, it's also the monetization engine. So, the fact that we do share out about half of our revenue with these creators of all kinds really is one of the reasons that they love to make YouTube their home, is that they can both create this content that they love doing, but also make a living doing what they love.
Yeah, and then if it's not just like a major TV network or studio, there's also the individual creators. Like I mentioned, I think Mr. Beast is doing some Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. He's sharing sneak peeks through tweets, so you're seeing him create the actual factory. So I'm wondering how creators are getting bigger and bigger in what they're doing, and how YouTube helps foster that. Or you just say to creators, go do whatever you're going to do. I'm sure you'll get viewers.
No, we definitely spend a lot of time working with creators, getting their feedback, understanding how we can make sure our platform is maximally beneficial to them. I'm always excited to see what Mr. Beast comes up with. He will be featured at our Brandcast event next week. And I think based on some of the amazing work he's done over the last couple of years, I can only imagine what Willy Wonka will bring to life. He really is the Willy Wonka, I would say, of the YouTube platform these days. So very excited. One thing that we mentioned at the New Fronts that I thought was amazing is that if Mr. Beast, and for anyone who's not familiar with Mr. Beast, please go check out his content. It's really incredible, both entertaining, but also a lot of pro-social initiatives that he's really initiated. And we're also very proud to be partnering with him on some of these initiatives. But I think one of the stats we shared is that if Mr. Beast by himself was a streaming network, he'd be larger than the next 3 streaming platforms. So one of the things I think is really interesting about streaming these days is there's a lot going on, obviously, but the reality is it's an incredibly concentrated viewership base. And there's really only 5 networks that are generating about 3/4 of the watch time. So I'd say that it's one of the things that we're always talking to advertisers about is like, we hear you're interested in streaming. Let's talk about the reality and do a little bit of myth busting and reminder that, YouTube is the #1 ad-supported streaming service.
Right. That's partly why I think you may be in TV upfronts territory this year, is to tell that story, because I'm sure you get skeptical TV media buyers who are like, oh, no, that's not if Mr. Beast gets 100 million views, that's not a Super Bowl 100 million views or something to that effect. What do you tell them if they
Yeah.
question the numbers, or like, is it just as good to be associated with Mr. Beast's big production as it is with, NBA playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, we always go back to where consumers are choosing to spend their time. And that, I think, is the most important measure of the quality of the content and the programming. We are clearly demonstrating, or consumers are clearly demonstrating, with how they're choosing to spend their time, where they're choosing to spend their time, that they value the content that's on YouTube. They value the creators and the studio produced content that you referenced before. And that's really why they're choosing to make YouTube the #1 ad supported streaming platform.
Absolutely. And then lastly, I'm sure the other question that will come up a lot is moderation and brand safety, and how you and creators are interested in how they're being moderated. They want to know that they're can push the boundary but not cross the line, those sort of things. How are you handling those topics, and how will it come up in conversations heading into the rest of the year?
Yes, I mean, responsibility is the #1 priority for everyone at YouTube. And we have been on this journey with the ad community in particular for about 5 years now. We're really proud at this point to be leaders in this space. We rely on what we call kind of our 4 R's of responsibility, which is removing controversial content, raising up authoritative voices, while we reduce the exposure to kind of borderline content, and only reward creators with the opportunity to monetize that are actually being of service and are valuable contributors to the ecosystem. And so we have a long-standing investment in all 4 of those R's across many, many years at this point. And it enables us with this framework to take on all the issues of the day. And it's been staggering across the last couple of years how many different issues we've had to kind of apply that framework to. But for marketers in particular, we've been incredibly pleased to partner with the Global Alliance of Responsible Media, otherwise known as GARM, as part of the WFA. And we're really proud to actually be the very first, and at this point, only platform to have been accredited by the MRC for our brand safety kind of tools and techniques. So we know responsibility is absolutely essential to our marketing partners, and we have invested a lot in making sure we get it right.
Well, we're about to come out on our close here, so you're giving us plenty of time this morning. If there's anything else to say about Brandcast, if you want to leave us with a hint of what's to come when that comes, I'll take it.
All right. Well, we're excited to see everyone live in New York and virtually around the country. So please do join us, and it's going to be a great event. It will definitely feature content. It will definitely feature great products that deliver results for businesses. So I think it's going to be a great show. Please tune in.
Thank you, Debbie. We'll be there, and see you soon.
I'll see you there.
And as always, I want to thank our Ad Age crew, Lauren Ciardio, Arabella Breck, and Anna Sakula. Thank you for making this live stream happen. And be sure to tune in for our upcoming episodes of Remotely. Tomorrow, actor Ed Norton is with us, founder of measurement firm EDO. You can find more at adage.com/remotely. Thank you for watching.